right, well, look at there. You followed the breadcrumbs. You found your way back to 5 minutes at the Frat House. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. You're sitting there going, 5 minutes, it's 15. Yeah, well, that's because you give us 5, we're going to give you 15. All right? I'm 5-0 Mike, and, well, this is just Sidekick. Sidekick, what the heck happened to you last week, huh?
Hey, well, you know, it's a tough week, but 5-0, everybody gets lucky sometime.
All right, and that puts me at 8-2, I believe, for the season at this point. We're going to take a look at 5 games that we think are going to be, well, are going to have an impact this week on week 3 of the NFL. And we're going to start off right now with, hey, we're taking a look at Jacksonville at the Carolina Panthers. That is Sunday. That is at 1 o'clock. And let me just jump in. I'm going to start it off, Sidekick. What can we say here? I'm going to start off by telling you right now, Jacksonville is pathetic, period. All right? Luke McCown was terrible, horrible. They had to go and bring Blaine Gabbert in. He apparently is going to be starting this week. They had 203 total yards of offense. Now, we're going up against the Carolina Panthers, and we've got, on that side, you've got our guy Cam Newton. 2 weeks, this guy's been a phenom. This is an interesting game because Cam Newton has got everybody talking. The guy ended up with 432 yards of offense, 1 TD, 3 interceptions. There we go, 4 sacks. Okay, 7 interceptions in the first 2 games. Interesting game. I'm going to let you talk. Go.
Well, this is my diggity bomb of the game. We are gonna start out the gate with this one. I've been high, just like you said, on Cam Newton. Saw it last week. Cam Newton is the real deal. He's going to go over 400 yards rushing this week, which no rookie has done in NFL history. So I'm going with Carolina. We got the 2 rookie quarterbacks starting, but it's going to be Carolina this week. They get their win.
400 yards. He's had over 400 yards, I believe, in his first game. We had over 400 yards in the second game, and we're going to do 400 yards in passing this game. Okay, so you're talking 1,200 yards in the first 3 games. I would say that would be absolutely phenomenal. I'm going to tell you right now, you got Carolina they're 0-2. Jaguars 1-1. Carolina is favored to win this game by 3.5. I'm picking Carolina. You're picking Carolina. This is going to be Carolina's week to win this game. And with all due respect, yes, I think Cam Newton might be. I'm not ready to say he is the real deal. He might be the real deal. I think this is going to come down to the fact that the Jaguars are just that bad, period. All right, on to game 2. We've got the Houston Texans at the New Orleans Saints. Now, this is what's interesting about this game, and here's why we put this on the list. Houston is 2-0. All right, they're not, no losses so far, and they're going up against the New Orleans Saints. We got a situation here where, in my opinion, we've got 2 similar quarterbacks. When you take a look at what they did last week, all right, Matt Schaub, 72% completion rate, 230 yards, 2 TDs, no interceptions, nice. 3 sacks. All right, Drew Brees 70%, 270 on yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions, 1 sack. In my opinion, I think it's a close game.
Well, looking at the injury reports, we got we have Foster as being game time decision. Jones is questionable. The Texans have never gone 3-0. The Texans have let off the most points, or have the most points allowed in the NFL. I like the Texans. I think they're taking the South, but I think the Saints take them this week.
And I would agree. We got the Saints right now favored by 4, and I think the Saints are going to take this game from the Houston Texans. All right, we're going to move on to Game 3. Game 3, we've got New England. New England is at Buffalo. This is fascinating. This is another one of these teams. You got Buffalo up there sitting at 2-0. This is not too dissimilar to what we just talked about. Who'd have thought that Houston would be 2-0? We've got Buffalo Bills at 2-0. We got New England, not unexpectedly, at 2-0. There was Brady last week again. Another phenomenal week. I mean, it was, you don't know who to talk about first from one week to the next. You're going to talk about Brady or you're going to talk about Cam Newton? Brady, 78%, 423 yards, 3 TDs, no interceptions, 2 sacks. They were 4 of 5 in the red zone. Incredible. 504 total yards of offense for the Patriots. 94 yards on the ground. Not much of a running game there. All right? Now you take a look at Buffalo. Ryan Fitzpatrick, I hear a lot of talk this week. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, he's the guy. He's the real deal. Not bad numbers. 264 yards, 3 TDs, 1 interception. They had 71 total yards or total offensive plays in the game. It was nicely mixed up. I liked what Buffalo did. They were mixing up their running game with their passing game. I think that's important. I think that's going to be a strong point for a lot of teams. You know, we see so much offense going on in the NFL right now. But I think the teams that are going to come out in the end are going to be the teams that are going to be mixing up their offensive scheme. And I liked what I saw from Buffalo. 481 total yards of offense, 217 on the ground. So it was almost a 50-50 mix. Patriots favored by 8.5 over Buffalo as an away team. They're coming into Buffalo. Where are we heading?
Well, I don't think the Patriots are going to cover that. But, you know, some interesting, you know, stats and notes for this game. It's been a decade now since Bledsoe went down, and Tom Brady has come in.
Today,
So, you know, there's an interesting note for you. Also, since 2002, there's been 3 teams in the NFL that have not been in the playoffs in any year since 2002. That would be Detroit, Buffalo, and Houston, all undefeated going into week 3.
And it's making me wonder whether we should have thrown the Detroit game onto this list this week, because that Detroit game is an interesting one, despite the fact we're actually not going to have it on the roster this week. But I think that's an interesting point. Is Buffalo going to be 2-0 or 3-0 at the end of the day on Sunday?
Well, the Pats have beat them 15 straight games. I'm sorry, you know, I kind of like the underdog stories a little bit, but Pats. You say they don't make the cover the spread though. But I'm not sure they're going to cover the spread.
And I'm going to take the Pats, and I think they will cover the spread on this one. I think Brady's on a mission. I think this guy is frankly, I think he's going to have a season like we haven't seen from him yet. Hall of Fame, it's automatic. We're on to Game 4. Game 4, we got the Giants at the Eagles. This is going to be the first home game for the Philadelphia Eagles. This is a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. The Giants, Eli Manning. One word, from my perspective. This guy is mediocre, period. All right? You know, you look at the numbers from last week for Eli Manning. They might look good, but I'm telling you right now, everything that I have watched of him is strictly mediocre. 62% completion, 200 yards, 2 TDs, 1 interception, 3 sacks. They had 300 total yards of offense, the Giants did last week. Now, their defense looks very good. The Eagles, on the other side, we're not sure about Vic. Vic, going back and forth, going back and forth. Is he going to be in? Is he not going to be in? You know, is he injured? Is he not? Is Kafka the guy? Everybody's sitting back going, Mike Vick, he's good. If he goes down, forget the Eagles' chances. LaShawn McCoy last week, 95 yards. Typical McCoy day. Macklin, terrific day. 13 receptions, 171 yards. Of course, a lot of that coming from Vic. Now, Eagles are an 8-point favorite in this game. Where do you see it? I know you've got a lot to say about the Giants. Go for it.
Got a lot to say about the Giants. 1, Eli Manning. He's fake. He sucks. Horrible quarterback. The fake injuries that they tried to pull. I mean, frauds. The Giants are frauds. I hope they're done for the season. I want to see them just lose out the rest of the season. These guys can't even fake an injury correctly. You know, you got 2 guys falling down on the field at the same time. You know, and then totally, you know, it's been all over the news this week.
So not only is the quarterback mediocre, but the actors are mediocre.
Exactly.
Well, yeah.
They've got no receiving core. They're all bummed up and injured.
Yeah. Yep.
They're a shell of a team. So I'd even go out to say they're the new Detroit Lions.
Yeah.
These guys are. So having said that, though, I'm going with the Eagles. I don't think the Eagles have as much to worry about that they thought they did with Vic being down, because I think, you know, they got a good backup in Kafka. Even though Young may come back in, or you know, may not be able to come in, I think that it brings a different level of game. He's not as mobile, but I think the Eagles take this one.
You know, back in the early part of the week when they were saying that Vic just wasn't going to be playing this game, I frankly sat back, I looked at the numbers, and I'm saying, you know something, I don't think it matters whether Kafka is in the game or whether Vic's in the game. Looking at the Giants, I think that they are so mediocre that I think that the Eagles win the game regardless of who the quarterback is. All right? The one thing I'm going to disagree with is that 8-point spread. I do not think that the Eagles are going to cover an 8-point spread. Eagles will win the game, but not by the spread. All right, last game that we're going to take a look at is that Monday night game, and here we go again. We've got ourselves a divisional matchup. This is the second one that we've got going on in the NFC East. We got the Redskins up against those Dallas Cowboys. Man, oh man, did Romo get the accolades this week for what he did last week. Running out there playing with with both busted ribs and a punctured lung, and my gosh, he brought him back and they won that game. Romo might be coming in and playing that game on Monday, but we got Austin out. We got Felix Jones out. All right. They had a rushing game. They had a rushing game, in my opinion, that was completely non-existent. They only had 45 total yards on the ground in that game last week. Romo was okay. 61% completion rate. 345 yards. That looks lofty. 2 TDs, no interceptions. That's good. Kitna did okay when he had to come in and back him up. Accolades, of course, for I guess for Romo. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've been the guy sitting here going, Romo is going to have a great season. But where are we going? What do you think on this one?
Well, I think Romo, you know, what Romo showed last week, he had to do. You know, people were talking about, you know, the letdowns in the fourth quarter and stuff, you know, different things like that. I think he needed to come out and make this statement. So good for him. I'm not that, you know, high on Romo, but, you know, I think he needed that game. Looking at it, you know, some of the stats, Skins are 2-13 since '95 against the Cowboys. And that.
Wow.
But the Skins, so far this week, so far this year, I'm sorry, have 7 sacks. Grossman, over the last 5 starts, is averaging 287 yards. I'm going with Washington for this. Cowboys and Indians. The Indians take this one.
Cowboys are favored by 5, and I'm going to tell you right now, I'm right with Sidekick on this. I am picking the Washington Redskins to beat the Dallas Cowboys. I think the injuries are going to come into play, and I just frankly think that that they're just not together at this point. All right, so 5 points. We're going with Washington on the Monday night game. All right, folks, those are our picks for this week. I want you to stay tuned. Hopefully we get that extension for week 4, and we will be back here. We're going to be talking about games again next week. All right, see you then.